Today on the 01581, a conversation with our outgoing superintendent and a very special guest. We'll see you on the show. Hi, and welcome back to this episode of the 01581 Let's Talk. I'm the host of this show, Shelby Marshall. I also serve as a member of the Select Board. And for those of you who may not watch the show normally, the purpose of the show, why I started it, was really to create a connection between town government and the community, away from the open meeting. We're sitting at the formal board just to kind of bring people before you and topics before you that you may have questions about. And so hopefully we're accomplishing that on the show. I have an amazing team behind the cameras in Westboro TV, so I want to thank them. And all of these shows are available through Westboro TV. They play on cable, the old-fashioned kind, as well as through the YouTube channel, so you can look those up. But enough about me, enough about the show, because today is really about welcoming two amazing women, one who you are very familiar with and one who you will soon be very familiar with. And welcome to Amber Bock, our outgoing superintendent. Amber, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. And welcome to Allison Borchers, our incoming superintendent.
Thank you.
I'm so honored that you are here, before you're even starting. This is great. I want to tell you that Amber's TV career actually kicked off on this show.
It did.
So where you go from here is really up to you.
Sky's the limit, really, right? Yeah, that's amazing.
So I did really feel that after I came on Shelby's show, I was like, the opportunity to connect with more people and to have more ways that we do outreach, then I started Superintendent Spotlight. Mm-hmm. And you can decide if you continue that show or not. But it seemed only appropriate, Shelby, that you get to do my ending and her beginning as an opportunity to come on your show today, and for me to have a chance to thank Westboro for letting me work for them, and then also to celebrate with you as a community the start of having Allison become the new superintendent.
Absolutely.
So I think there's fun things to talk about today.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, before we get into all the hard questions, because we didn't tee you up for that, right? This is like hard hitting.
I'm ready.
We have actually I think someone's coming in the door.
Oh, look at that! Look at that! That's
Thank
so.
you.
Oh, you guys are
Aw.
the best. Thank you, Westboro TV. We love you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So just a little thank you.
Thank you.
Our manager, as you all know, Karen Henderson, she was not able to be here. Otherwise, we would have made a fourth seat right here, right in the sandwich room.
Thank you.
A thank you, Kleenex not included. You can use the paper
Yeah.
towel, and welcome, right?
Thank you.
So I think the flowers are sort of representative of this amazing community that we have. And Allison, I know that through the interview process, you got like a little bit of that, right, through both meeting with town departments as well as community members, certainly school committee. But Westboro to me is just, there are so many aspects of this community that I love, and sometimes those that I get frustrated with, and that's what makes it great, right? And so with that, Amber, you're going on to a new opportunity, and congratulations for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to miss you after 10 years. You've made an incredible, foot thumbprint here. And Allison knows how big the shoes are to fill, so I'm not going to, overwhelm her with that. She knows, right? But when you reflect on, kind of 10 years and then looking forward and making this transition and handing the baton over to Allison, what are you excited about for her?
That's such a great question. I, like you, think Westboro is a truly unique community. It has, I keep saying to her, you're so lucky, because I feel like I had to kind of rip myself away from this job. It's one that I have loved so much. And so when I think about what I most want Allison to know about this community is that it's authentic. And I feel that it is a place where relationships really are the center of what people try to remain in, and there is a true depth of caring across just the array of people you meet. I find that one of the things I most love about this community is that wherever you go, people, one, are happy to see you and so kind and supportive and keep telling you that they want to be there to help you. But that also they're volunteering and helping all the time. They're asking, how can I help you? And they're inviting you to things. There's this real sense of warmth that I find has remained through every evolution of our community. And so that's what I think makes Westboro really, really unique. And so there's so many different organizations that are all for volunteering and giving back to the community. It truly is a very unique place to both live and work.
Yeah, I think that community spirit of giving through volunteerism, I mean, it starts at a young age, right? We have the littles. I remember when my daughter was at Armstrong, they walked, to the food pantry, right, and brought food and experienced that, right? So they're like, okay, we're giving. That continues throughout, middle school, Mill Pond, middle school, and then certainly in the high school with a variety of work that all the high school students do. Those students then volunteer at the library, right? I mean, it just goes on. And then certainly the adults in the community are veterans, right? They collaborate with the schools. We have so many civic organizations that give back. They give back monetarily, but they give back of their time and energy and programs. So you are coming into a great place. And even beyond the volunteering of sort of the fun, like, oh, we love volunteering. The people that volunteer on the boards and committees, right? I mean, your school committee, right? Yes. Volunteers, right? Yes. Lots of time. The advisory finance committee, you'll get to know them very well, right? Yes. They're going to ask you some tough questions. I'm sure Amber's already, you've probably watched the videos.
It's their job to bug us. That's why I said it's their job to push on us. It's okay.
And it is, but I generally feel like they do it with love and care and concern for the community as a whole, and they're going to challenge you. And I think that is that spirit across the community that you're coming to.
I also think that one of the hallmarks of a strong community is when everything is very interwoven. And so, a lot of the life of the schools is just fully infused into the community and vice versa. And I think as you look at the fact, like Westboro TV does all of the digital media work for the high school kids that come over here and film their shows and teach and bring the learning of Westboro TV to the high school and back and forth. And we're infused through town meeting and all those collaborative relationships and all the joint meetings. I don't think as many communities as maybe Westboro have thought to forge joint committee meetings between select board and school committee and finance to come together and have everybody have those conversations. Like that makes it kind of a really particularly unique place to work. And so the schools are very, very integral. We are a major influence in the community for the purpose of giving back, for the service of the work, not just that we are charged to educate those children, but to also serve the community and the families, which I think we enjoy. It's a big part of what our kids do. It's pretty impressive.
No, absolutely. And just last night at our select board meeting, we were talking about the budget summit, right? So we have a fall budget summit, even though I was like, I had to almost think to our town manager, do you have the right year? Because she was like, FY26. I'm like, oh my God, like
happening. Yeah, I know.
how much older am I going to be then, right? But as you know, that planning starts now, and we were talking about how it's really like, how can we enhance that? And so I think there's this continual, and sometimes it's exhausting. Like there's this continual, like how can we be better? How can we be better? So there's a little bit of, sometimes I think we need to self-reflect and like be content, but just for a moment, right? And keep going. So enough about the two of us, because people we hear from you all the time. Let's talk about the new kid, right?
Yeah.
So Allison, tell the community a little bit about yourself, and then please, if you would, why are you excited to be here? What have you already observed?
Well, I'll start with that part first, because I think I have joked with a couple people, including yourself. I feel like I won some sort of school district lottery. It really is a remarkable place, and I felt that from the moment of the very first interview. It's a warm and engaging place, and the level of kind of commitment and interest and kindness, all of that has sort of seeped through the entire process. I was impressed by town meeting. It starts in the morning and goes all day. A lot of people show up and they stay the course and are remaining engaged throughout that process. And I think that speaks volumes. And I have picked up on that idea of here's where we are, where can we go next? What do we do next? How can we do more for more people? And I think you're right. Sometimes that feels like a lot. And I think there's a trick to kind of pausing and celebrating and then getting back into it.
Right.
Sort of, show up, do the work, and then what's next?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm very excited to be here. The few transition days I've had, I've been so impressed, and I think what Amber and her team have built is remarkable. The leadership team is incredibly strong and intact and fun and interesting and smart.
That's critical.
Yeah,
because they're going to be right there. They are your team to kind of work with on a day-to-day basis, and they're interacting with the principals, as are you, of course,
Absolutely.
and then kind of through programming, et cetera. So that's critically important.
Yeah, so I'm excited about the whole thing.
Awesome.
I think it's
Good.
great. It really feels like a good feeling to be kind of coming into this role, which I know is a very big role, and I'm excited about that part too. A little bit about me. I am not from around here originally. I grew up on the West Coast. So in Oregon and Washington State, and still go back there. I was back this weekend. My niece graduated from college at Seattle University, which is a big school. And I got to see firsthand a really nice use of artificial intelligence, which generally speaking scares me a little bit, I'll be honest. That's a place
I remember that was a question.
so I'm like, but I
Yeah.
saw this lovely thing where AI was used. It's a large, sort of diverse group of students, and the AI was used to do name pronunciation.
Oh, wow.
And you would think that sounds kind of
like
creepy and
informal,
impersonal or something, but it meant every kid's name was exactly right. It was exactly paced out, and it just felt very respectful, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's very cool.
So
Very interesting.
Just as a quick transition there, I happen to notice on the senior center board at the kiosk at the end of the road of Rogers Road, they're doing an AI forum, I think tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
For seniors, right? So what is it? What do you need to know? So again, another way in which Westboro is like, how do we engage all of our community kind of and keep them current? So
I think
that's great. Yeah.
That does feel like that's
I
something we're
might
all going
go,
to be
right,
talking a lot about
yeah.
next little bit
Yeah.
for sure.
Right.
So
you're a West Coast gal.
West Coast gal, came out here. I went to college.
That's good to know.
I did graduate eventually. I went to college. I loved it out here. I got married. I had a child.
Yeah.
It felt like for a long time, we complained a lot about the East Coast because it's the weather's harsher and people are a little abrupt.
Yeah, they
I
are
think.
abrupt in some
Yeah,
ways.
we like fences.
Yeah, there's a lot of like tradition that you don't really understand if you're from the outside, and I think having a child here is the thing that got me really sort of sucked in because it's a great place to have kids and to raise kids. The schools are fantastic. The communities are super supportive of children, and everybody seems involved and invested.
Sure.
So I stuck around.
All right.
Got into teaching. Shortly after college, I worked in an educational nonprofit in the city in Boston. I loved that work. Didn't have a car. I was stomping on foot all over the city of Boston, getting lost in public transportation, and kind of made my way into teaching. And my first full-time teaching job was in Westwood, which is another West.
Another West. So
And I got that and stayed the course there for a long time.
And so that's where you've been.
I have been.
That's great. That's great. So you too, not unlike Amber, are leaving, right? A lot of like roots there.
Yes.
So I'm sure both lots of mixed emotions, sentiment, and now opportunity. So what are you excited about? Like what's Well, and I should pause by saying, so I get the opportunity to meet you. I know you've been around, you mentioned some transitional days. You have some scheduled upcoming meetings or coffees, right?
Yeah, meeting sounds very formal.
I know, right.
It's going to be
like a superintendent. No one wants 1 minute.
I mean, we can do that at some point if we need to. But I think
we have some coffee time scheduled.
Coffee times, I think July 10th in the morning, August 8th in the evening. Just a couple to get us started during the summer. I know summer is a time when people like to tune out school a little bit and regroup, but I wanted to
Not Westboro.
No. Excellent. That's good.
No.
We're like still cooking. I love that. But it's a chance just to meet people informally and chat and hear a little bit about their connection to the place and other people's perspective on what makes this a really great community. I think the more of that I know and hear firsthand, the better equipped I'm going to be to advocate and be out in the community helping support the schools as they move into the next thing, whatever the next thing turns out to be.
Great. And we'll make sure our friends here at Westboro TV have those times up there, because those are open to the public, correct?
Yes,
Not just for parents,
No,
right?
we should put out another reminder too.
Yeah.
I think, Shelby, you've hit on some really key pieces that when we look at, like, tell us about yourself, and we've talked about Westboro, but I think when we were looking for a superintendent, everybody's like, why do we pick Allison?
Yep.
I think that you've got some of the special characteristics that can be invisible, and you just have to have the opportunity to see them when you interview, which is, I think it's really beautiful that she's been in Westwood so long, because it speaks to somebody who cares about a community, stays there, and makes their impact. And so when we met Allison, I think one of the things that stood out for us was the sense that she's like a committed person, and that she is obviously kind. You're very nice, even though we have to train. We were like, we're big huggers here. Sorry, and that besides that, obviously intellectually very, very capable and smart. But besides that, you're looking for somebody that intangible sense of connection and that interest about doing good work for the purpose of caring for others. And that I feel like when we met Allison, we met a bunch of really talented people. But I think when we talked more with Allison, there was this sense that Allison wants to come and give back to Westboro. She's in this for the right reasons. She's not on a trajectory like, oh, it's time for me to be a superintendent. Like, this job found her and felt like the right match. And it is, because I think she's going to come here and want to love this community as much as they're going to try to embrace you and bring you into the work. So I think that really is what resonated with us. And there's so many little gems here for you to then come and have a new Westboro experience. And I think you'll find that it's a fun community to work in. And you live nearby here, you don't live in Westboro, but you'll be able to spend a lot of time here, and we'll teach you all the good, like the little secrets that you have to know about where to get a good lunch and
Coffee. Coffee's a big one for me.
Right. Well, plenty of great places for that. I think that one of the things that I mean, among many, both as a professional educator that has made Amber, I think, so impactful in the community, is her visibility in the community. And I'm sure you've heard that, but I think that, not that you've asked for my advice, but here you go, right?
No,
so
I think it's helpful.
So I think the being visible in the community is really, really important. Being engaged well beyond the kind of the boundaries of like the schools and central office is, will honestly dictate your success, right, in the community, because I think that to me it's like the education part of it, like that's secondhand, right, for you. That's like, not to say you can always improve, you're always building, you're working with your team, but it's that other part of like the rest of the community, because we do feel I think we've done a great job kind of not being like, oh, and the schools, right? So we want to continue that. I think the collaboration that Amber and our town manager, Christy Williams, has been exceptional. I think that there's a trust factor there. I think that, not to say they don't have difficult conversations that I'm not even aware of, that that's really important, right? Because then the boards work better together, all of that. So I think all of that. And then the town, like people in Westboro want to support the schools. Like they recognize the importance of why they brought their families here, and why they educated one of their kids here, and why they stay, right? So, so I think that that's going to be really important. I remember, and I think I actually put this on one of the comments, that the feedback forms that we were able to submit. I was amazed by what I define as your steely strength. There was this, like, below just, I don't know, maybe about here, like that really like was a feeling that I got from you. Like, that you can be happy and kind and all that stuff, which is great, but that like you will have to face difficult situations, conversations, what have you, and that you will handle those in a way that is respectful of kind of all parties. And I know you specifically talked about that. So, because you're dealing with people, right? People are complex. They come from different contexts, et cetera. And so I I'm
you.
fully confident, but I
agree.
Thank
I
you for
think
that.
it's that
Yeah,
it's that intangible sense when you're trying to invite new
Yeah.
people into important places to do the work of the community. I do think that there's an acknowledgement and a recognition that the schools are an essential kind of core to what makes Westboro a really vibrant community. But it also is an open acknowledgement, and we acknowledge the burden that that places on a community to maintain high quality education nowadays. And there is a fragile balance that we hold in that relationship to acknowledge the financial burden that we place on the community to maintain strong schools, and that our giving back, our being present, our being there listening and participating in the wider community communicates that we recognize that shared relationship, but also the acknowledgement that we want to give back as much as possible because this community serves us at a high level to educate the children in the town. And when you look at the statistics, when we talk about this, there's about as many kids as there are seniors.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of, but we don't have polarization. We have
Right.
awareness and commitment, and I think that takes constant maintenance. And for me, one of my senses of the charge of being a superintendent is to communicate that by being present beyond just the schools. You'll know a whole other different set of people than I might have known. You're going to find your own way. And that's what's exciting about having someone new, which is some of those relationships were individual to me and people I found along the way. And you're going to open up a whole other branch of people that you're going to connect with in this community that have, new opportunities for us, which is kind of exciting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
So is there like I'm sure you've been working on this, I'm not asking for your 90-day plan here, but are there sort of anything you want to kind of preview, like I'm excited about this idea for Westboro, or I'm excited to continue this key piece of work? Anything kind of, this is your opportunity.
I'd say, one thing I'm excited about is I'm entering a place as the sort of final year of a strategic plan and vision is closing out. And I think that's such a great time because now, we have direction, we have focus for the year, and I have the opportunity to work with the team to sort of really think hard about what's next and engage with the community about what's next. And being able to do an entry plan during that moment is an opportunity to inform that. So I don't have a specific, this is the thing yet. I know the landscape of education right now includes things that are interesting and hard, thinking about artificial intelligence, thinking about kids and their mental health and what's happened with social media and what do we want to do about that? What's the school piece of that and the community piece in helping
how do those
shift?
complement each other?
How do we work
absolutely.
together? Because it's not a thing that schools can do alone. It's not a thing that parents can do alone.
Right.
And
I can assure you on the latter.
yes,
for sure,
I have a 21-year-old. I am well aware of all the things. And I think that those are, I appreciate coming into a place with this sort of shared sense of stewardship around care, care of the schools and of the children in the schools, and care by the schools of the wider community. I think under those circumstances, it's a community that's really poised to tackle some of the things that are hard coming up. We're about to have an election. I think that can be a hard time right now in this country.
Absolutely.
And how do we help navigate our way through that together and stay strong?
So absolutely.
I think those are really interesting things.
I agree.
The other piece of it, as we were talking, is I'm thinking one of the things that, as well, I think you'll find with Westboro is that in terms of like our seniors, our elders in our community, they are genuinely curious and want to know about what's going on in our schools. And I think that there's a tremendous opportunity. I think Amber did a great job in this area. I think that there's still opportunity to get there in terms of engaging them, like more in what's going on in the schools, informing them, because they ask great questions. And I think that sometimes the perception of like, oh, Amber, you're talking my taxes, the schools. But I think my observation has been, once there's an understanding of like, why are we doing this? And Amber's done countless explanations at various, certainly before the select board, budget meetings and town meeting, but even before town meeting, like explaining the why. I think people go, okay, like I get it, right? Like this, like there's been a process. It's part of a strategic plan. Like this wasn't just let's pull it off the shelf and this seems like a good idea today, right? Obviously, but people here in Westboro are genuinely curious, and
I
I think
think
they'll be
those are
welcomed by that.
great opportunities. I think that, I do think, I look that we're well past COVID in terms of overall recovery. But I do think we lost a chunk of time where connections and work and opportunities to get to like you always have to start with core mission. Like we need to highly educate kids, and that's a full-time job in and of itself. But beyond that, forging innovation connections and opening doors and building new programs and more opportunities for students to be going out into the community to be coming in, takes a different type of innovation type thinking, and I feel like we lost some of that. We were really struggling to get back to like a baseline that we were holding in our mind. And so I feel like we're there now. Like I can see it. Well, you were in schools with me today. You can see that it's a day, 2 days before the end of school, and there's like a lot going on. It's
Going
busy,
strong. Yeah, that's great.
and there's energy, and so I feel like you're coming in at a perfect time where those next innovation pieces and getting out in the community and thinking big about how do we open the doors, how do we bring people back and forth, is a place where Westboro you could actually achieve that, which would be exciting. I think one of the other things you were just talking as you were looking at talking about the connections with elections and communication and connections. We also met with Westboro Connects and looked at that because Shelby also does work with them. She and I are on their board actually, because we care about communication, collaboration, relationships, and a community where everybody belongs. And I think that's the theme of that group, as well as many other community groups in town. And Connects is in charge of trying to amplify all that amazing work that all of those groups are doing, Rotary and Lions Club and
Civic
just
and
Civic Club
Women's,
and
yeah.
WEF and WAFIA, and like there's just so many groups. And so one of the things that's nice is that as we look at difficult conversations and bridging all of that, I think there's good things ahead for some nice collaboration at the town level with select board members and everybody to really think about how do we stay an engaged community where we are inviting people in, we are talking about difficult topics while we're also then open to new ideas and going back and forth more, so the schools aren't seen as something that's kind of like just for kids.
Yeah,
I
right,
think,
right.
which is
Well,
different.
and I think as you know, whatever the difficult conversation, recognizing like there's a human on the other end of that, right? And they
Right.
bring their context and they bring their views, and so it's hard. It's hard nowadays sometimes to have those conversations. So I think that there are lots of groups in town. Certainly, schools play a critical role in like facilitating all of that. And because we are neighbors, right? So like you want to be able to have that like the cup of sugar neighbor, right?
Yes,
like that
yeah.
I know my neighbor and could ask for a cup of sugar, even
your cordless drill, that kind of
right, even if they disagree with my political views or whatever, right? Like like we're
I
human
love that. I
beings.
kind of picture that as just the beautiful world of gray, that you know, we don't have to have exact alignment on anything. We just have to be people and humans and Americans and people who love to be together. And there's that sense of community that comes from that. And there's just so many avenues in Westboro all working on that mission, which I think is really exciting. I saw that there was one of the turquoise tables out in front of
the
one of the
Unitarian
Unitarian Church. And so there's just this whole purpose of people committed to building community, and I think the schools will continue, obviously, under Allison's leadership to be an important part of that, which will be fun.
Good. Well, I'm not sure I want to do the goodbye words here because I may cry. So, but I'm going to say thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. And you're still here in Westboro.
I
you still live
am.
here. So
I
we're
get to
just
just be a
see you-
community member.
Right. You're
I
going to
get
see you in a different
I
capacity.
promised
but-
Allison I'll be very invisible for a while.
Yeah.
And I am heading off to lead a small school, which will be very much kind of back at my own personal roots of being able to coach teachers up close and know families, you know, and watch the trajectory of development for a smaller nucleus of families, which will be exciting. But it has been an absolute joy to do this work. It really has been. I feel honored that Westboro invited me. I have loved every minute of it. We've had some tough years with COVID and just what it is to be public educators nowadays, but I still would say every day I wake up and I love it. So it's been really fun.
Well,
Thanks.
Westboro, I don't speak for the town of Westboro, but sometimes I have kind of the honor of speaking, I guess, in that capacity. So thank you. On behalf of everyone, thank you, Amber. and will give you that kind of grace of sunsetting yourself and
Yes,
allowing you
yes.
to concentrate on new opportunities, but still expect you to be an active member of the community and
I
provide
will. I'll
that
be
voice.
at town meeting. I'll be at
Yeah,
town
that's
meeting.
right, right,
I'll ask you all the time. I'll be like, Allison.
At least one vote for the budget.
I get to go up to the mic and be like, I have a question.
Yeah.
Excellent.
She'll be like, didn't you listen to all those presentations?
You remember that thing about big
Can
shoes?
you imagine?
Right.
That would be,
Anyway.
I will not do that,
No.
but I just think
Yeah.
it's funny to think about.
Yeah.
I've just been, when you are a public figure, you
Yeah.
silence all sorts of perspectives of your own identity because that's important. You represent all identities.
right.
I
You
feel
bet.
very, very strongly that public educators represent the arm of every person who comes under their umbrella.
Yep.
And so yeah.
True. And Allison, welcome.
Thank you.
So excited. Come back anytime on the show.
Great.
When you do, I'm sure our ratings will go up, so it's completely
There we
self-serve.
go.
Thank you for that. Thanks for having me,
Yeah.
and thank you. I really do feel like I owe a huge debt of gratitude. Even before I've started, I can sort of see what a wonderful opportunity this is.
It'll be fun.
You're going to
have
be
fun.
great.
You're
You're
gonna
going to
have
be
fun.
great. Okay, well, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the 01581 Let's Talk. And again, be on the lookout for notice for Coffee with Allison on July 10th and August 8th. This has been a great show. Thank you so much, and tune in again to the next episode of the 01581 Let's Talk.
Thanks, Shelby.
So with that, I'll ask you to introduce yourself to the public and we'll begin.
Thank you. Public over here. Hello, I'm Amber. It's nice to meet you, and public on TV. I'm Amber Bock. I am currently Assistant Superintendent in Weston, and I am one of 3 candidates that you are meeting tonight for the Superintendency in Westboro. I am very excited about the opportunity to be superintendent in this district. For me, the part that was really reaffirming, I would say, was really the opportunity to visit last week. I just left feeling that it was more than an opportunity, it was a special opportunity. And I think what you're looking for in a superintendent is somebody who values the incredible wealth of opportunity and strength in the district while creating a leadership structure that looks at continual improvement. And I believe that that's what I want to bring to this work, leveraging the talent and the good work that's been put in place and continue to improve it. And I believe we all know that when we enhance our schools, we enhance our community.